What happened to beauty in video games? Over the past decade, there's been a clearly noticeable shift in characters' design across both beloved franchises and new IPs. Lara Croft's, 2Bs and Triss Marigolds of days gone by, feminine, aspirational characters with strong identities, have seemingly been replaced by a new breed of heroines. Characters with square jawlines, rugged physiques, and a conspicuous lack of femininity. Where we once had clear, iconic gender identities, we now get body type 1 and body type 2, with developers going out of their way to cover up body type 2's curves in the name of modesty and modern identity politics. But if you look at the real world, it's a completely different story. Across all forms of media, advertisers and companies understand that beauty sells, no matter what the product is. Victoria's Secret recently brought back their angels after a 6-year hiatus, who were originally retired to align with the body positivity movement. Yet outside of fashion, you still see beauty being celebrated everywhere. Car designs are sleek and attractive, jewelry is crafted to be luxurious and eye-catching, and people travel to visually stunning destinations. The list goes on. So what's caused this radical shift in character design and storytelling in the gaming industry? Well, we'll dive into that question later. But first, let's take a look at some beloved characters who are admired not just for their beauty, but also for their strength and capability. In the early days of gaming, studios often lead on traditional tropes. Mario saves Princess Peach, Link saves Zelda, and so on. But there were plenty of games that put a powerful female protagonist in the spotlight, proving that you could indeed have a character who looked damn good while taking charge. One of the best examples? Well, of course, Lara Croft from Tomb Raider. Lara was more than just a character. She was a cultural icon, embodying strength, independence, and beauty. Even from the early days with her infamous triangle tits, Lara Croft was a fierce, intelligent explorer. She wasn't just eye candy for players. She could fight ruthless enemies, solve complex puzzles, and dive headfirst into danger, all while maintaining her grace and femininity. And as technology evolved, so did Lara. Later iterations with improved graphics brought her to life as a complex and determined character. She became a nuanced heroine with clear goals and a fierce will, without losing the feminine charm. Lara was definitely no damsel in distress. She was a symbol of strength and allure, inspiring a generation of cosplayers and even receiving her own movie adaptations, where Angelina Jolie embodied her character so perfectly. For many, Lara Croft wasn't just a protagonist. She was the total package. And another dearly loved female heroine was, of course, Tifa Lockhart from Final Fantasy VII. Tifa is one of those characters who doesn't just embody strength. She balances it with a deep sense of compassion and beauty that has captivated fans for decades. When Final Fantasy VII debuted in 1997, Tifa stood out as a martial artist with a look that was athletic, feminine, and undeniably iconic. In her original design, Tifa's long brown hair, athletic build, and confident demeanor made her the kind of character who could both fight alongside Cloud and act as a moral anchor for her friends. What's remarkable about Tifa is that her strength isn't only physical. She's portrayed as nurturing and loyal, often putting others before herself while still being able to go toe-to-toe with some of the most formidable enemies. In the 2020 remake, her design received a high-definition upgrade, showcasing her in stunning detail while still respecting the original feminine charm. Square Enix managed to bring out her grace and beauty even more, showing that they understood what fans loved about her character. Tifa is the kind of character who resonates on so many levels. She's strong, resilient, and also deeply caring. She's not only beautiful on the surface, she has a heart of gold and a fierce dedication to her friends and her cause. In many ways, she's the soul of Final Fantasy VII, reminding us that beauty and strength are not mutually exclusive. These are just a couple of examples of heroines that are strong and independently willed characters, but still maintain their feminine beauty while being as capable as their male counterparts. In fact, they actively embrace their feminine side, and it's what makes them each unique and memorable in their respective franchises. So is the shift towards more masculine androgynous character designs a new thing? Yeah, well, not entirely. Take Samus Aran, for example, who appeared in Metroid way back in 1986. Initially, players assumed Samus was male, given her bulky power suit and silent, stoic demeanor. But if players managed to complete the game in under 5 hours, they were treated to a surprise reveal. Samus was, in fact, a young woman. Now, this twist shocked players, as it defied the conventions of the time when lead action roles were almost always exclusively reserved for men. Yet Samus has remained a beloved icon, showing that a strong female protagonist could take on the same roles as male heroes without losing appeal. And another is Mona Sachs from Max Payne. She's another great example of a strong female character in gaming whose identity did not revolve around her sexual appeal, but rather her abilities, her complex relationship with Max, and the intrigue surrounding her character. While the character model was certainly not unattractive, it was Mona's depth and the air of mystery about her that truly captivated players. She's a dark, enigmatic anti-heroine whose motivations aren't always clear, and that complexity made her one of the most memorable parts of the series. Outside of gaming, there are countless examples of popular female characters in other forms of media, like Sarah Connor from the Terminator series and Ellen Ripley from Alien. These characters prove that across all forms of media, audiences will actively support and enjoy strong, compelling characters. It's not about looks or fitting a specific mold. It's about depth, relatability, and authenticity. When characters are crafted thoughtfully, people connect with them, no matter the medium. So if audiences were already okay with traditionally feminine heroes and stories, why is there suddenly such a big pushback on developers including more masculine female characters in games? The answer honestly is pretty simple. It's authenticity. When characters take established characters and completely regard their original appearances, fans have every right to be upset. There's no authentic reason to give female characters square jawlines, androgynous features, or overly bulky builds when it doesn't fit who they are. If you really want a character with those traits to be pivotal to the story, just create a new male character for that role. And it's not just about the physical traits. There's an increasingly annoying trope in mainstream media, whether it's gaming or film, where we see these badass female leads who act with pure bravado and masculinity, while male characters are reduced to the bumbling village idiot, existing solely for comic relief. And let's be real here, this trope especially applies if that male character just happens to be Caucasian.
Did you get sugar in it this time?
I hate coffee. Yeah, the sugar's in it.
These inauthentic depictions do not mirror modern society whatsoever. It's almost as if media companies are determined to flip male and female societal roles in the name of social justice and female empowerment. But of course, the problem is, these characters often end up hollow, devoid of any likable traits, and lacking the authenticity that made heroines of the past so loved and celebrated. The generation of writers who crafted these iconic characters has mostly moved on, replaced by a new wave of writers who seem solely focused on social justice and identity politics, and it shows. Now look, politics of course can have a place in gaming. Meaningful choices, moral dilemmas, and complex narratives can absolutely enhance the overall experience. In the end, gaming should be about the journey, the characters, and the worlds we immerse ourselves in. When developers prioritize authentic, well-crafted characters, players connect with them, regardless of gender, looks, or their background. But what we're seeing now is a shift away from what made these stories so impactful. The classic heroines we grew up with, such as Lara Croft and Tifa Lockhart, showed us that beauty, strength, and depth could exist together. They weren't defined by a checklist of traits meant to fit an agenda. They were simply incredible, memorable characters who felt truly real. And as gamers, we don't want hollow characters built to satisfy modern checkboxes or pushed agendas. We want heroes and heroines who inspire us, who feel genuine, and who remind us of why we fell in love with gaming in the first place. And if we lose that, we're left with empty stories and utterly lifeless characters. And on that note, what do you think? Do you think there's still hope for the future and we're going to get good authentic characters again? I feel like change is upon us, so hopefully it does work out that way. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and consider subscribing. And otherwise, I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye for now.